welcome to the Paper Snob. This is Tara. Today I am working on the May Stamps and Stencil Savvy Hop. This is a monthly hop hosted by Brianna over at My Life on Paper. I will have her link as well as a playlist of everybody participating for the month of May. It is a year-long playlist, so all of the prompts will be on there. The prompt for May is embossing. And so I did include a stencil in this pile of goodness, but also a ton of stamps. This is my husband at a military ball without me. Actually, at that point, I had never been to a military ball in his military career, so that was kind of fun. I did end up going the following year to two balls, actually. The one that was local, and then this one was at Quantico in Virginia, so we also traveled to Quantico, and we all went to that ball. Well, my husband and I, but we had the kids with us as well, but they, of course, stayed at my son Garrett's house, who was stationed at Quantico at the time with the Marine Corps. The rest of the product I have sitting here is from my March counterfeit kit. It is the paper pad that looks like the Cedar House from American Crafts. It is called, I believe, Urban Street. There's a bunch of scraps in here from that paper pad, and then I did pull out a scrap from Cedar House as well as a couple papers. This for the background. This I'm not sure that I'm actually going to use. So, but I pulled it out. I have some Scrap and Happy Studio Flair, and I have my product to emboss with, as well as some embellishments that were in that kit, as well as I cut these hearts using my dies. So then I've got these stamps from Tim Holtz. And these came from AliExpress, so I'm not sure of the brand. I'm going to pause. We're going to get started with that embossing. I'll be right back. Okay, first off, it was my February counterfeit kit, not my March counterfeit kit. So I just wanted to get that straightened out. My March counterfeit kit was more of a tropical vibe. Anyway, so I'm going to put this stamp here on this paper just as a stamped image, and then I will stamp another one from that same set, kind of to peek out from the paper, that pattern paper that I'm going to put on here. It's just to add some visual interest to that background. That background is kind of a text collage background, and I just wanted to get a little bit more visual interest on there. I had really hoped that gray that I'm using was lighter. It's way dark, but that's okay. I think I cover up a good portion of all of that anyway. So what I am going to stamp and then emboss are those gear and floral stamps from AliExpress. I'm going to use my powder tool there, shake off the excess onto the floor because I already need to vacuum, so no biggie. I'm going to put one down here at the bottom, and then I'm going to put another one up at the top, the same image. And frankly, I'm just guessing where these images are going to end up. I know that I'm going to do some paper tearing and create some layering on either side of that background, so I'm trying to guess well. This is an example of me not pre-planning, mostly just trying to get what's in my head out on paper. So I've got this particular stamp, and it's the larger gear and floral element, and I'm going to just put at least two of those on there. And now I'm going to just use my black embossing powder. That's quite a bit of embossing powder. No worries, I do save it and get it right back into the container, but first I wanted to make sure that I got all of the images covered well. Now I'm going to clean up my mess. This is an oven liner that you can buy on Amazon. They're really large, and I bought a couple of them actually, and then I cut them down into usable sizes, and they're a lot more sturdy than the Tim Holtz craft mats, the tan ones. I find that the Tim Holtz ones rip easy after a while, so I really like this one because it lasts for quite a while. And I have it rolled up in a tube underneath my desk and my milk crate where I keep my folders of scraps. So I'm just going to use my heat tool here, and I'm going to just emboss this. I love watching embossing powder work. It's magic. I don't do a whole lot of embossing because it's a lot of work and it's super messy, unfortunately, but it is what it is. So there's my background. Doesn't look like much right this moment, but I'm going to start working on it now. So I have this terracotta print here that I'm going to tear. And if you know me, you know I don't like the wide torn bits, so I always cut off the extra. And now I am going to go ahead and tear this edge as well. And of course, because it was torn from the other side, I have to tear again because I want that white on the front. So I'm going to cut this one down here and trim off those torn bits from my previous project with it. This here I'm going to cut, I think 3, maybe 4 1-inch strips of it. It's 3 because I know that it's not 12 inches, but I want to have that peeking out of my torn edges, and I want a full length of it. So I did 3, and I'll put one down and I'll put another one on top of it and I'll cut it, but you'll see that here in a moment. Here I am cutting down, or tearing down that edge, and now I'm going to adhere it to the terracotta piece. And at first I thought it was going to go on this side, but then I saw it completely covered up my stamping on that side, so I'm going to cut down a little bit more, and then I'm going to tear off a little bit more. I'm just going to layer some of those torn bits underneath there. And now I'm going to go ahead and tear this edge. You might be thinking, well, it's upside down, Tara. What are you doing? I find it easier to tear with my right hand and hold with my left for whatever reason. So that is what I did, and I'll just flip it around. That's all. So here I'm going to go ahead and layer up the other side. Forgot to put adhesive on it. Gonna put some adhesive right on that terracotta piece because I'm gonna let this hang off the edge because it's a little bit wide and I didn't want to cover up my embossed pieces too much. Now I am going to take this multicolored piece. I believe this is a stack of vinyl records that is in the Cedar House collection. This is a scrap that I've already used the other pieces on another layout probably back in February, but I really just wanted some color here. So I'm just going to tuck and play until I get these looking the way that I want. Here's where I tear the other one, and you see I have a little bit, roughly 2.5 to 3 inches at the top that doesn't have any of it, and I'm going to fix that right here in a second. I will finish tearing off this edge. For the moment, I'm kind of hanging on to those torn bits because I can hear MK gun in my head, save all the pieces, Tara, save all the pieces. She likes to save all the pieces. And I, of course, took a class with her on scrapping on the ship this past February, and she likes to save all the pieces. So I'm saving all the pieces because I'm not matting my photos. I'm going to just tuck some of those torn bits underneath the photos a little bit just to give the illusion of a mat. And here's where I'm going to take that torn terracotta piece. I'm going to stick it underneath there. And I like the layering so far. I'm going to tear the edge off this other colorful piece here. I like that yellow on the back too, and I really think that's probably what I used on my previous layout with this kit that I built for Counterfeit Kit. But honestly, it's been a few months and I can't really remember, but I'm thinking I probably used the yellow side more than likely. Again, I'm kind of stuffing that striped bit in there. I'm going to use my tacky glue to go ahead and get it glued down so that it won't move. I'm going to stick some more terracotta pieces underneath there because, of course, now I've covered up a lot of my terracotta, unfortunately. Again, like I said, this is what happens when I don't fully plan a layout, but that's okay. So now I'm going to cut off the top here so that I have, so that it's actually 12 by 12. It would be my luck that I would accidentally adhere something to the full length of it. I'm going to use my trimmer to get the side piece off. But it would be my luck that I'd forget that I had more than 12 inches there, and I would glue something important off the edge of that 12-inch piece. Can't have that, so I'm going to go ahead and tuck the remainder of that so that I have that multicolor piece on the top, all the way to the top, just like I do on the left side. So I kind of wait and allow that to the glue to dry just a little bit. So I'm getting ready to go ahead and start gluing down the photos. Off camera, I did go ahead and I believe I cut off that piece. I did let it dry for just a tad while I did something else, and I turned the camera off while I did that. So I'm tucking that ripped piece of the terracotta there and a piece of that stripe, that multicolored piece. I'm going to stick that under there. And I'm going to go ahead and do this multicolored layer underneath the lower photo. That photo was weirdly sized. It's kind of what happens when your husband sends you from his Android to your iPhone. The sizing doesn't always match up. I'm not sure what that is, if he needs to change his aspect ratio on his camera or what. And of course, that's been several phones ago, so don't seem to be having that issue between the two phones now, and he still uses an Android because he's wrong. In case you wondered, that is an ongoing bickering thing that we do. He thinks his phone is better than mine, and he's wrong. Anyway, I am going to be putting the title Seriously the Best up here. I start adhering it on that camera and I don't like it. It's gonna disappear on my camera, on my embossed image. Yep, see, I tapped my fingers, which means nope, don't care for that at all. And of course those two pieces have not been glued down yet and they're moving, but I'm gonna move my title down just a little bit, and I actually move that title around a couple of times. I have to move it over to the left because it's not centered correctly. I was hoping to squish it in there and leave a little margin on either side on that background, but it didn't work out. I'm a little bit ADHD here. I keep jumping from thing to thing. I stick this hanger under there. I have been trying to use that silly hanger on something, and I thought, okay, well, he's all dressed up to a ball. You know, clothes, fashion. I stick it under there, and I take it off camera. I just don't like it. Of course, in the process of taking it off, I destroyed it, so it ended up in the trash, which is probably what I should have done with it in the first place, since it is like the last piece of a collection. I think it was Art Options Elena by 49 and Market is the collection that it came from. And I finished that collection off back in, I think, October of 2023. So I just had that, and now I'm gonna just finish gluing these. I didn't show these gears at the beginning. They are a scrap from a layout that I didn't do on camera at all. I actually did that in my free time. I was at a friend's house and we had a fabulous time scrapbooking, and that is just the layout that I did at her house. We were there for her birthday, celebrating her. So I'm going to finish this title. Remember, I said I was being a little bit ADHD and I was jumping around a lot, and I never did get that title down, so I'm getting that title down. These are nice foam thickers, which means they stick very well. I'm just going to continue popping things here and there, trying to make decisions on what's going to go where. All right, I got this layout completely done. I'm pretty pleased with the way it turned out off camera. I went ahead and I pulled that hanger out. I just did not like it. And I tucked in this little rose piece that goes with the rest of these embellishments that I put on here. Still need to glue down this, or glue it down better. But I also used some of my gear dies to make some more embellishments on here. And I think that finished it off nicely. Tucked some things up underneath my layers. Added my title down here at the bottom. Made sure that you could still see my embossing very well, and that is it. Make sure you check out that description box below my video for the playlist for 2025. There's a lot of creatives on this list. You're going to be amazed at all of the beautiful inspiration that you're going to get from this hop, so make sure you check that out. If you are new here, I would love to have you as a subscriber. Just click that button down below. I put out 3 to 4 videos per week, and even when I am super busy, so I try to have things up here all the time for you to watch. I hope that you have a great rest of your Saturday. Bye.